Everyone,
Happy New Year.
thank you for being here.
2019.
And in spite of the weather, I'm glad that most of you showed up today. In going through I guess we can start. Today's I'm gonna say November. 16th of January. Can you please go through the minutes of the last meeting that we had, which was on November 28th, and see if there are any corrections or revisions that we need to make? I have one revision.
Okay.
Just here. This is what success is. Understand of what success is. Wow. I guess then you say wow.
I didn't do them, but I can correct it.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry. That's right. You. Yeah, just that. I think. Or do you want me to just correct them and then send them to you?
We can do that as well.
I can do that. I can edit too.
We're doing transportation training
Okay,
next
let me do that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you check on the first paragraph towards the end, it says, the Laredo Tennis Association also runs a program for stroke survivors.
Job sites.
They don't actually direct
Or
the program for stroke survivors, they have their own program. Would you say that way? I mean, I know that they work with them, because they sponsor some activities, but I don't know if that
It's
was.
a separate group, you mean?
It is a separate group, and they have their own.
Collaborate, maybe?
Collaborates is a, I think, a much better, more succinct way of
I
saying
just
it.
trust it whenever our
Well, they also, they
send it out, but we can change it.
Yeah.
they kind of sponsor it because they hit it. They spearhead it. They don't?
No. No, I know the people who spearhead it because I've done programs for them. And it's
Okay.
not them. They do collaborate with them.
Okay. So then,
If you need me, just call me, okay?
we will, thank you. Dr. Gonzalez? Thank you, thank
Happy New Year, Dr. Gonzalez. Igualmente todos.
Thank you for joining our group.
I was running from the Drug and Alcohol Commission meeting to this one.
And I forgot to mention, we have a visitor today, Ms. Patricia Rincon
Hi.
from the Workforce Solutions. Okay.
Thank you for the invite and thank you for.
So you're gonna do a presentation today?
I'm sorry?
Are you doing a presentation
I
today?
can do an impromptu presentation. Just tell me what you want me to address and I'll do it.
Okay, let's get through the minutes and then
I'll think about it.
I'm gonna test you.
Okay.
So instead of saying directs a program, we wanna say what?
I
Collaborates?
think Erica suggested collaboration. Because they have a collaborative relationship rather than a directed one.
In the very first sentence, I think, they say that they provide the tools they need to learn, but they never says what. So I think it has to say to play tennis or how to play tennis.
Correct.
Okay, because they kind of like leave it to chance that. Okay.
Yeah, they don't actually specify.
So we need to specify that to learn how to play tennis or to play tennis, one of the two.
Mhm.
Then there's what success is while promoting. They're able to help these children develop confidence and understanding of what success is while, as opposed to, I don't know what that word is.
While promoting activity.
While promoting physical activity.
Yeah.
Any other suggestions, revisions? Okay, so then it's just those that we identified.
Including the collaboration relationship.
Yeah, the collaboration, the correction, the while,
Yes.
and then how to play tennis. Those are the ones I have. Okay.
I move that they be accepted as revised.
How's
Do you
that?
have a second?
Yeah, name two.
Do we have somebody taking notes?
Ms. Ramos didn't come today? No.
No, Ms. Ramos, had an emergency this morning, so she wasn't able to be here. Hey, Ms. Sanchez, what are you doing?
Happy New Year. Everything good. Muy bien, ¿cómo está usted? Happy New Year.
Okay, the second item is public comment. I don't think we have anybody who signed up unless Ms. Rincon signed up.
I did? For what?
She's supposed to make you.
I see if I'm paying attention.
Ms. Rincon could make on the public comments or under announcements. The discretion of the chair.
Okay. Well, we can do it under announcements, because I know that typically the public comment has to do with referring back to an item on the agenda. Unless you're gonna specifically speak about something on the agenda, then we can have you under announcements, at least so you can tell us what
My role is in
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay.
Yes, of course.
okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, going into the agenda, this is really, since we're preparing, I don't know if I give you the cover letter, our annual report. This is more a recap of some of the highlights. And to see if there was anything left pending in discussion. In fact, as you see, this is pretty much similar to the December, but it covers some of the highlights.
Okay,
And then review of our biennial report that we're gonna turn in tomorrow, and if you're signing the cover letter. That's why we put that.
you're talking about item 4?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay.
your discussion items are really things that you've already discussed, but we wanted to bring them back to you all as a summary of the highlights of what you covered this year. But this will be in our report. And so if there's things pending, the only thing that isn't on the agenda that we wanted to bring to you was something you all did this year too, was continue to work with parks on programs for kids and families with disabilities. I know you already did this Blue Ribbon Committee, the workforce started working last year on different programs for kids who are visually impaired And so we bring that back to you. If that's going to continue, I think that was something great, as well as all these other items. These were highlights of the year.
Okay. So if we could try to recap every one of these, the group is patient enough, so we can go through them. Public service announcements to hire individuals with disabilities or people with disabilities. That is something that was spun from the video that was actually produced here, with the likelihood or the possibility of expanding that video or that public service announcement to other organizations, whether public or private entities. And so I know that that's what's pending right now.
We're supposed to start filming mid-January on that one.
And thank you, Brother Rodriguez, for saying that, because that's exactly what's pending, is to designate a time and place. But you all did recommend too that we could talk to public access, and we need to get a time and start filming even you all and the work you do. Working with people with visual disabilities, partnering with LC, who did the very nice video that you all saw on the young man who is in a wheelchair but contributed a lot to our information technology services. The young man did a great job. And so you just need to tell us now a time and date. So do we have a schedule that you want us to start filming? And you all, I think, had a great idea of going to the school and seeing what you're doing, because those are the testimonies that these are the people that should be hired or qualified or trained and can do a great job in showing this to the workforce.
If I may add to that, one of the things that I know we tapped into was the fact that we don't have, interpreter captions for the individuals with the hearing impairments. And so we leave that population completely out. We need to relook at that, even our city council meetings and our announcements, because we do want them to, I work very closely with the deaf, and so it's extremely important that we focus on that so that they want to be part of a system, because now they can understand it. And I know that other cities do it. There's even services outside that you can contract from the outside so they can come and do the interpreting. Or you can find local interpreters that when you're doing those videos, there's a little caption on the side where they're what's it called? They are interpreting, and it makes a world of a difference, because we have, I think, a little bit over 300 or 400 individuals with hearing impairments. I don't know what the numbers are. She probably would be able to give us a better number, but that are not being tapped into. Okay.
We have about 100 in the schools. We have a little bit more adults.
And we have, they're isolated, completely isolated, because nothing is geared at servicing them at all.
If I may just add to that comment, during our LDA annual job fair, I met the professionals for the sign language, and they gave me their card. And so I have that card available in case you need someone to actually do the signage, or maybe it's something that you would like to look into.
The company purpose also, and we have 2 local interpreters that could, after hours, because during the day they're educational, but after hours maybe.
And then we do have some retired educators who are in the field of interpreting and stuff like that, so that they also could provide services. And I think it would be a great way to bring that population over to whatever we're doing.
Okay, well, we'll make sure that we include that option when we do the public service announcements. Because you're right, we don't. There are many public meetings, and it's, at least that I can recall locally, I don't remember seeing anyone doing any kind of sign language interpreting.
And if we want to do any type of civic engagement, or we want them to be part of the community, we need to reach out to them because it is our civic responsibility to be able to do that, 100% not portion of it.
Okay, it's a good idea. Thank you. So we go back to the same question that we started with. Where do we want to start? And
Joe, let's say January is the time to start.
It's a mid-Jan, the first taking mid-January.
So let me elaborate, because I know you brought me into an insight, and maybe I had just not looked at it that way. Dr. Gonzalez, right now what you brought up was for us to first film at you all's organizations where you actually assist and help individuals with disabilities, okay? Whereas I guess the final product of that would be an actual public service announcement of those individuals actually working at an organization and being productive, and where we could view them as an asset and contributing to that organization's success.
I think what would really be
And so-
helpful is help doing the transition from the school to your post-secondary services to the workforce, because then people can connect.
There's a flow.
There's a flow and there's a connection, as opposed to isolated, you start off with the older and they're saying, well, what about the younger one? Because our interest is for the 100% rather than just a portion. So if we do a transitional series of videos or services like that, they can understand, okay, this is where they're at. They transition out, there's still services out there, then they go out and they get trained. This is where there's the emphasis on training right now. The training occurs, and then they actually get employed by individuals in the community who are embracing of their diverse abilities.
So how do you see it, Ceci? Do you see it as several short PSAs, or do you see it as a program that maybe we can air?
Either way, what you want to do is you want to capture your audience. Although here in Idaho we like to watch scenes in sequence, chances are we're not getting a captive audience. So we might want to do, okay, this is where it starts and this is how it's birthed.
So do maybe both?
Yeah, I would say consider both, because I think it really would make a difference. If you can connect, people want to learn and want to engage when they can connect and understand the whole process. If they see them in chunks, if somebody sees this only and they don't see this one, they're not connected. That's just the way it is.
So then we need somebody to edit and cut and edit, okay? Both, we're starting from the elementary portion about having to do with training at schools or education at schools, and then transitioning over to training, preparing for the work field, and then the actual.
Because you always say transition begins in the early stages of school.
Right.
And it flows all the way to most of the year.
And then maybe some testimonials at the end of employers who have actually hired individuals with disabilities.
Ceci, you're reminding me of a video that we at one time linked to our website that was on a completely different topic, having to do with hiring the handicapped. It was the Hotel Association in California, but it was a similar idea. But this was actually a program that was available online.
It's a spin. It could be a spin-off of something
What
like
I was
that.
thinking is maybe we could, have it online available, the whole thing, and then from that, as Daniel was saying, edit, for the 30-second spots for the PSAs.
Because I think it really makes a difference, especially if at the end you seal it with someone who says, I hired, and my initial perspective of how this person was going to function completely changed, because that's been my experience. And where a parent says, a person with a newborn says, oh my gosh, my son or my daughter has a tomorrow. That's basically what I want to do. I think we want to present something like that.
Dr. Gonzalez, a typical public service announcement is only 30 seconds? Really?
You
Well,
just,
this is it, now you'll get more
or you can do,
people.
you can do 60 seconds or 30 seconds,
Right.
but in my experience, it's 60 seconds and hardly ever air them. But if you can, do 30-second spots, they'll air it. There's a better chance of airing that because they can fit it better in their programming. But we can do both. We could do the sequence program to put online, and then from that we can tape for the PSAs and do voiceovers.
And it can be used as a resource when we outreach the community.
Yes.
And that's basically what we want to do, because we are a
Yes.
group of individuals, educated individuals, who reach out to the community and say, okay, this is where you're at. And so no matter what stage of life they're in,
There's a place to go.
there's a place to go. So they're connected and they understand how it works.
And what do you have on our website?
Sure, we can ask our section of the city that does the public access, talk to them, get their guidance also, but what I'm hearing, to develop the sequence, whatever that takes, put it online, put it for those who want to see more, and then from there, cut the 30 and 60-second spots to send out to the media. Our city's public access can show an hour show.
Yeah.
But it's the KGNS and it's the private that will take 30 and 60 seconds. But doing it this way, you can cut it up.
Yeah.
This is what the school does, this is what
Yeah.
the transition, this is what the workforce does, the testimonials. So we can do that, but we want to speak to our public access folks and get their technical expertise as well, and then bring it back. We'll send it to you, so it won't belabor, so it not take more time. We'll send you what they request, but this is kind of what we did before.
For the PSA, Erica and I went over and talked to them, and
Right.
then, we worked together to edit them. They're
So it can be
great.
done. Yeah,
Public
they're,
access, they're wonderful.
Yeah, and if the media can always say, if you are interested in seeing more of the transitional process, this is the website or the link or whatever it is.
Or we could just put it at the.
Yeah.
Contact info.
Yeah.
Contact info and put the website.
But that way that makes it makes sense, and they're not saying, oh, they're only focusing on the little ones. Oh, no, you're only focusing on the older ones. No, we want to focus on everyone.
then we'll contact the public access folks and get a meeting so we can present this and get their expertise as well. And again, we'll send Eric, because she's done it before, and if someone from
Yes,
the,
that volunteer
Okay.
position.
then we'll do it again.
Okay, Doctor,
That's
thank
what
you.
it starts with, yeah.
The next item that we have is the sensitivity training and the update on that. The last time I know that we were trying to accommodate the police department at different variable hours or shifts. I don't know how far we got with them.
The last time we spoke, it was everybody except one group.
And I think in the last one, because we didn't know that part of the police department were going to show up for this last one with the city of Laredo. We were like, oh yes. Supposedly, I don't know if we did get to capture everybody, because it was all the city of Laredo and then the police department showed up both days, like both sessions. So, but I think Los Ramos is the one that got the final numbers.
And then one of the things I believe we discussed was that it's gonna have to be ongoing, because they're always getting a new class. How we were gonna plug it in so that it could be maybe part of the training, or maybe.
And I know we did get a little bit of feedback from the city of Laredo that they did want it possibly to be shortened a little bit. I guess because of the time, because it was about 4 hours, like between 3 hours and a half to 4. But that's because that was kind of like the time frames that they had requested. But we're like, sure, we can most definitely just shorten it to your needs. So, but we did get.
We had focused on doing in-service training, and another option I was thinking later would be during the actual pre-service training. Maybe stick it in there as a module. It's just an idea.
I think last year we spoke about that, but they decided to go this route. But we can most definitely
In-service.
continue.
Because of the movement committee, the city of Laredo also work with workforce and did sensitivity training for general staff, not just PD. And let me tell you that LPD has said they really liked it. So thank you to the trainers. I agree that it should be ongoing because they have new classes, but now, a question to you all, do we do the same thing with the sheriff's department?
Very good.
Sure.
Yeah.
And you know why? Because and I guess, and I did notice that this is usually the main question that they would ask me was for service dogs. Of course, I was speaking just for the service dogs for the blind or visually impaired. But I actually did see something that happened most recently in Chick-fil-A. I think I saw it on Facebook. And that police officer did tell the managers that they could not request for the service dog to be it wasn't I don't think they specified, but they did share that they couldn't remove the service dog. And of course, the police department, I remember some police officers would ask. I was like, the law does state that, of course, if the service dog is being rowdy or biting, of course, then you can ask for the service dog to be removed. But if there's no other reason other than
No justification.
no justification, so I did, and I was like, that was probably because of me.
Right, maybe Ms. Miguel has a great point, because PD was called and we were called, or sanitarian, and they both upheld that. The officer remembered the training that yes, unless there was a problem,
And I was like,
the dog was running, because it was the owner who said, I wanted to remove it. And so they educated both the police officer and our staff, the sanitarian, educated the officer to know, as long as the dog is
Behave.
kept, it's
Behave.
calm, on a leash, then yes.
Not a danger to others.
It's a law.
Yeah.
And so we got the contrary from the owner calling and complaining, but he was educated that, yeah, it's a law.
I can add, when I went to the meeting for the training for the NFB, and a couple has their dog, and they would go to the dining room and eat, and the dog were under the table. They would make a sound. You didn't even know they were there. Notice they were there. So
And if I may add, I know that we talk about service dogs for the visually impaired. I work with a young lady in Zapata who has an emotional companion, and I
Yes.
just recently worked with another one in Laredo who has an emotional companion. And I think it's for the purpose of helping someone integrate into the community with service dog is an amazing thing.
And we're
And
gonna
they-
start seeing more and more.
Yeah, and the thing is that the emotional companion in Zapata was a German Shepherd. The emotional companion here was a Yorkie. Okay? And it's just a matter of what makes that person successful and
yeah.
to have the desire to be part of it.
Nexus.
Yeah.
But this goes back to then the continuation of the sensitivity, and to the credit of the Improvement Committee, you did a great job
That's good.
with LPD, and they're thankful.
Well, good, we'll continue doing that then. So, report for the White Cane Day. Okay, so that was the day you made us walk how many miles?
You did that. Very successful.
It
was
good.
No, you
I
should.
got to walk with the mayor and I complained about the streets in Laredo. Because they were all, they're all busted up, so I told him that he needed to do a line item to repair streets.
I understand that mayor was blindfolded also.
The mayor was blindfolded.
Yeah, the mayor was a real good sport. He did the whole 2-3 blocks blindfolded as a king, so he was very, that was interesting. Anyway. So, Mr. Delgado, anytime that you need us to participate or help out, just let us know. We'd be
Well,
more than happy to.
Good. Thank you for saying that. We have plans for this year also,
Good.
and we have some ideas. I ran to this past Saturday with Mr. Beta.
Mhm.
We're planning for spring break. One of those days, I don't know when. We want to make a White Cane movie day, and we want to have it at hopefully we can have it at the Alamo Draft. where people can go who are sighted, be blindfolded, and we can have one of the places to see the movie, to put a descriptive audio on all the rooms where everybody be blindfolded but can still enjoy the movie because they know exactly what's going on with the descriptive audio. So
That's awesome.
that's a project for this spring, and also for the summer we're planning a luncheon for people who are sighted will be blindfolded, and eat blindfolded, and see they have the experience. And of course a 5K day for this year.
And I know for us who have sight, I think that it's real easy. But I used to have an employee, or do have an employee, had an employee who lacked his sight, and you know we take a lot of things for granted, like just as simple as eating. How difficult and challenging that is to eat, okay, because you're confined to a plate and you don't know where things are, okay, and so it's a challenge. Okay.
Well, this past year, my wife and I went to McAllen, and they had this luncheon hosted by the Lions Club. And so I told Ms. Cepeda about this idea, and she's also. So we planned it for the summer, and hopefully the Lions Club will pitch in and make a luncheon where we can invite the public and people who are blind for this luncheon and have the experience for everybody. And the same thing with a White Cane movie day, I call it. I don't know if that's what we're going to call it that day, but we want to invite the public and children and everybody involved to enjoy a movie blindfolded.
Mr. Delgado, you might want to consider outreaching the Saints. They have what is that restaurant they have downtown?
The what?
Bandera?
Siete Banderas. The Saints are very high on assisting with individuals with special needs. So you might want to outreach them, so they might want to host something, assist you in hosting an event there.
Okay.
Especially if it's a first-time affair, you know, it's good publicity for them. And they're already doing the works. I work with them very closely when doing work experiences in all their different businesses.
Okay, thank you. Well, I guess I can get all the ideas I can get because, like I said, Ms. Cepeda she was very helpful with the White Cane Day, and she was the one who recommended, who gave me the information for the Lions Club.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Kevin Bromo, who was the former president of the Lions Club, he's willing and to help us also in everything we need.
Yeah.
So we're moving on, and my the group is growing. This week I added 3 more persons interested in being part of the NFB. So
Wow,
yeah.
very nice.
And hopefully the NFB chapter will be here, hopefully by middle of next month. We'll have a chapter already.
Congratulations.
Good. Okay, well, thank you for that information.
So the next bullet is just an FYI, just an accomplishment that you all did, that is in the report, and because of your letter to the mayor and to city council during the budget period, they rescinded the increase in fees for live from last year, and so that's just a note of accomplishment that the improvement committee.
Well, we owe that to Mr. Delgado because he's the one who came in.
Yes.
Kicking and screaming.
If I may add, on the transportation, we're actually teaching in the schools right now. We're doing pre-transitional training in the schools. We're working with Cigarroa High School right now with the deaf unit. And we are proud to say that on the 18th of this month, we are going to have the transportation department come to the school, do a presentation about the different modes of transportation available within the city, including our Metro Lift. And then they're going to host our students. We have 8 students that we're working with. They're going to host them so they can take a ride on the bus and, you know, just take a tour and learn how to ride the bus. A lot of them, these young men and women have never ridden on a bus, and the only mode of transportation they know is their parents. So what we wanna do is we wanna bridge that gap in bringing him in, so they were very generous in saying, yeah, we'll come in, so please to whoever is in charge.
Thank you for that. Good.
Could we go back on 2 items, please, in regards to, did we decide on the public service announcement, the date and time? You stated that we needed to,
We're gonna get a date,
okay.
and so Erica will let you know accordingly, so both of you can go
Okay.
and look at your calendar.
The other question I had was on the sheriff's department, you asked, should we look at the training for the sheriff's department? What did we decide on that?
I think we said yes, right? That would be something good to offer. Thank you.
Yeah, typically your law enforcement entities, regardless of whether they're police department or the sheriff, I think that we should, whatever training we provide one, we should be providing to the other. They both represent, they're the first individuals that are seen by our public in any kind of
First
emergency or issue. So. And I think that's for item 4. I think that's all we have. Unless there's something else that we may have done this last year that is not listed here. Any of you can remember?
So these were highlights, but you also reached out again to the business community, to the chamber.
That's right.
We asked to get on the agenda, that will be in the report. And we're waiting to hear from them. We're gonna remind them again. Because there's two venues. One, the breakfast morning meeting.
Yes.
For Lou, we're gonna have 5 minutes to make a presentation, and then the formal meeting, to put you on the agenda. And so we'll remind them. So that was another major issue that you all discussed throughout the year.
So do we have a set date for that, Doctor, or
We're
they'll
gonna follow
just
up
let
with
us
them.
know when there's availability?
There was also, I'm trying to think who came to our meetings last year, and I was thinking,
Of the chamber?
Well, it was-
and also I'm thinking,
The planning, the engineering,
zoning.
yeah,
The
the
parking
planning
lot.
department, remember, that was really good too.
Thank you.
For the parking lot.
Was it Chavez or, Ramon?
No, it was Victor Linares. the
Victor
new-
Linares,
the new-
Victor Linares, that's correct.
Yeah,
He came.
he did a very good job.
Gave you all-
Planning and
A
zoning.
very nice
He
person.
was in charge,
Yes,
but
and it
he
helped
only
us
has
understand
what it
Yes.
is.
the why, how many.
Yeah, so we're still working on that one. That's not been concluded yet.
Planning and zoning.
But the idea would be to increase the number of required parking spaces per, increase the ratio,
And
right?
Dr. Gonzalez mentioned Parks and Recreation.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which was another. We'll bring back on the parking spaces an update at the next meeting with, I think, in the various meetings you all had, Mr. Ignatius, the acting new director for building, gave you options. And so we'll bring those options back and see what action you want to take.
Correct.
And that's the same thing with number 5, Mr. Chair. The mayor won, so you all continue to serve. But it was your internal decision, if you all, the discussion wanted to put a time limit in rotation, that's your decision. As far as from the city, you are the mayor's blue ribbon, he's in another 4 years, so you're his designates. So you're.
Are we his favorites too?
I would think so. I would think so. He speaks very highly of the committee.
Okay.
But the discussion was internal, you all developed, and that's still, you all are still discussing that, and we'll bring back points that you discussed last time of internally, you want to put limits of rotation, that would be up to you. As far as the mayor's concerned, you've got another 4 years.
Okay. You know, we had quite a discussion with that, but ultimately, I think what we decided was that we'd keep the group at 10, is that it?
Yes.
And that if you chose to resign your position or your commission or whatever we want to call it, that you could very much do that. But the mayor himself was not viewing or in a position or going in the direction of rotating us with new individuals. Rather, just he felt comfortable with the group remaining as it is right now. So we chose not to make any changes.
And just one more point of clarity on that, Mr. Chair, the other advisory groups, boards, commissions were designated by each council member. Like the Drug and Alcohol Commission and the Airport Advisory, each member designates some and the mayor one. And if they rotate out, then the new council member does have the option to name his designate. But this committee is a blue ribbon committee of the mayor.
We're perpetual.
He wants you all to stay. He wants you all to stay.
Well, we appreciate his confidence in us.
Yes.
Okay. And I know that for the most part, I don't know, how many years has it been? 6 or 7 years already?
7.
For the most part, most of us have been here for that length of time. We've grown old together, people.
I joined only for the shirt,
Only for the
which we don't wear.
Does everybody have a shirt?
I have a shirt.
Yes.
I think we should wear it when we come.
I think so.
It's up to you.
I think we should, because we need to get used to it. We pay good money for those things.
Yes. I
He's
agree.
just looking at me going like, I don't think so.
No, you're welcome to that. Okay, so item 5 we're pretty much discussed. So item 6 is announcements, and so we thought that we would render the floor over to Ms. Rincon, who's visiting, but we'd like to know what is it that she's yeah, what can you enlighten us with?
What can I enlighten you with? Well, thank you again for welcoming me and inviting me. My name is Patricia Rincon. A little bit of background about me is I have been in healthcare for about 20 years. I have been an educator for about 4. And right now my new position at the Workforce Solutions for South Texas takes me to being an advocate for students with disabilities from the ages of 14 to 22. It's a brand new program that the state developed. They call it a pilot because it's new. But I am working on making it very successful. Hopefully I'm doing it well. So what I do is I promote, convene, collaborate with entities like yours to bring awareness about people with disabilities. And when I speak of disabilities, I speak of all kinds of disabilities. The ones we can see and the ones we can't see. Throughout the research that the state has gathered, if they feel like maybe some students may be falling through the cracks because they may not be aware of the services out there for them, and also because the stigma that sometimes disabilities, especially the ones that we can't see, come with, they would rather not, get into that area. And so my job is pretty much, trying to bring awareness to the community as a whole. And through the Workforce Solutions, we work with entities, like I said, like yourselves, and like Ms. Ceci was saying, bring them from your kiddo with disabilities, the younger the better, by the way. In the research that I've gathered so far, I see a lot of the parents maybe not being so much involved in developing that post-secondary after the school. The school districts are very good because they have to, abide by the law and the state about giving these services. However, sometimes the students go throughout middle school, high school, and they don't get until senior year, and that's when they start looking for vocational rehab in the Workforce Solutions to see post-secondary education abilities or post job readiness. and workforce in the community.
Okay.
So basically, we want to get them the earlier the better, and that's why now they're implementing 14 to 20 to 22. And so basically, that's what I do. And thank you, like I said, for inviting me. If you have any questions for me, I'll be more than glad to answer any of those. If I may just announce a couple of things that I have been working with. We have developed through the Workforce Solution and other combined entities, a committee for the youth. And this is a committee for the community as a whole. We are trying to bring the youth and bring awareness to the local government, local organizations, profits, private sectors. We're including employers. We're working on a very big event to recruit these students to be members of this community youth organization. And me personally, I am pushing for inclusiveness. We need to, include everybody. And so I know that I can remember from the top of my head, some of the entities involved are the Workforce Solutions, vocational rehab, rehabilitation services. I know that Judge Daniel Dominguez is involved, Laredo College, TAMU, City of Laredo, Health Department, Ms. Erica is very involved in that. And so there's all throughout the city, we're getting together to form this organization. I've also have joined the steering committee for the Bibliotech. I don't know if you are aware of the Bibliotech in Laredo. It's the first digital library in the community, and it's only second to San Antonio, I believe, in the state, or I'm not sure if it's nationwide, but I know that in the state for sure. I did visit with them this past week, and I did ask about them having services for our folks with disabilities. And they mentioned that they were working on it, so basically that's what I'm going to be taking care of at those meetings with that organization, to make sure that we include, what I have learned is the modifications and accommodations for our people with disabilities are very minimal. I mean, sometimes it's just a matter of adding a software, and then people who are blind can use the computer, and also the caption, yes, for the deaf, for the people who are deaf or have hearing impairment. So basically that's what I've been doing, and talking to the districts, talking to the teachers, talking to the parents, whoever will listen, that we need to prepare our individuals with disabilities for the main goal is for them to be self-advocates, successful, and productive citizens of our community. And I only think that the more we do it, the better our community is and the stronger. And I love Laredo, by the way, so I'm always going to be advocating for us. And that's basically me.
And Patricia does a great job, if I may add, by collaborating with VR, because the whole scope of the program is, her title is Disability Navigator. We are not the experts, vocational rehabilitation is, so her role is to connect them to vocational rehabilitation, and it's working very well.
Thank you. I'm trying. Yes.
Thank you for the information, Ms. Nicole.
Thank you for inviting me. Again,
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Yes. Anybody who would like my card, I'm always giving these away.
They're like candy. Yeah.
Yes, they're
Like
all
candy.
So Ms. Gutierrez, do you have an announcement to make?
Yes, I do. I always have something to say. Always. And I have an announcement. For those of you that are not, I'm giving you plenty of notice. I gave it to you last year. I'm giving it to you again. February the 8th, we are having Night to Shine. We need people with a heart and a desire to serve that night. So like I told you last time, this is the only time that you can invite your loved one and then say, guess what, I'm gonna go sit with somebody else, and you get to sit with someone else, even if it's at the same table. We are really excited that we are going to be having it at the barn again. The Villarreals were very, very gracious with us, and we are in the process right now of outreaching the different entities. The work is a lot easier this time. We had a meeting recently in my office, and we had a young man that came in for the first time. His name is Hector Torres. And he said, so how many people did you have helping last year? It was like 5. And in 21 days, by God's grace and mercy, we were able to come up with an event that was just wowed all of us. And we had 143 individuals with special needs and over 200 people who assisted. I think it was an amazing turnout for the short time that we had and everything. So now we're basically starting from, we have all the legwork already done, we're just outreaching again. But we are still looking for different entities who can represent their organizations during that event and who are willing to serve, because that's what it's all about. It's about serving, sitting next to someone and saying, hey, do you want a drink? It's not about so much about enjoying ourselves at a party, but so much more about serving. And there's always something to do. Someone who needs a napkin and who's not going to ask, someone who needs to go to the restroom, things like that. With the simple fact that someone needs a partner to go dance on the dance floor, you've never danced before, welcome. You know? So February the 8th, if you are not doing anything, if not, save the date and come and visit. Even if you can't stay for a long time, come and visit. Come in and bask and see what's out there, because this is the community we're advocating for.
Okay. Make sure we're all there.
Please, I'm counting on that. You can bring your blue shirts.
Dr. Gonzalez is gonna rent a bus and go pick us up.
I know, I'm serious. And if you know of anyone who is interested in providing any donations, we're still looking for dresses. We're looking for anything and everything. Candy. I'll tell you a small story, and Diana can attest to this. We had the meeting on Thursday, and I had sent out a couple of emails and everything, but out of the clear blue, 2 ladies showed up. I didn't invite them. Diana didn't invite them. No one from the meeting that was there had invited. I just spoke to the last person that I had emailed, and she didn't invite them, but they showed up. They're from PGD, I think, Energy. And they do solar energy, the only energy providers in the city. And they showed up, and they said they had gotten notice to come to the meeting. It's out of nowhere. And then we were trying to figure out what we were going to do, and I had this crazy idea, another donation that you might all want to be part of. I'm looking for wine bottles, okay? I've gone to at least 6 bars.
You want them
The
empty?
pastor's wife has been to the bar.
You want them empty?
Empty bottles.
You want them
How many do you want?
I had this crazy idea that we could make centerpieces out of wine bottles, but I had a hiccup in the road because I kept thinking, oh gosh, I just thought about this idea and already spread the word before we had the meeting, but the lights are very expensive. So we were at the meeting, one of the girls says, she says, we would like to do something with light, and I'm thinking, here's my light. So I told them, I said, well, can you guys help us with the lights? Long story short, this was on Thursday. On Saturday morning, I get an email, on Friday or Saturday morning, I get an email, they said, we will go ahead and donate and make the centerpieces for that night to shine. And in addition to that, we will pay for the booth, the photo booth. So I don't know where they came from, but if I have any doubt that there's a guy out there that is taking care of this, that day it came, because that solar light doesn't come from Manifesting Rock. So I was super excited.
Well, that's good.
But what other donations you said? You needed dresses?
Dresses, I need nightgowns, evening gowns, we need
Makeup, we need
makeup, we need makeup also, we need people to do makeup. We are getting, this year, the Tim Tebow Foundation dropped our grant from $8,500 to $4,500. So it's quite a drop. And they're sending us the bags, but the contents in the bags, they're only giving us $500. So it's not a lot.
Promotional items.
And
also.
promotional items. So
To put in the
if you know of
bags.
any promotional items, anything that can be placed in those bags, of people that out there that are willing to donate, we're looking for those. I just got word of that. I did not know we were not going to have things. But anything's possible. So we have a snack table, we have a photo booth, we have limousine. We're just waiting on certain items to come in through. But any donations will be welcome, because they're going straight out to the individuals we're serving.
Okay. So the contributions that you had last year compared to this year dropped $4,000?
$4,000 from the Tim Tebow Foundation.
That's the stipulation of the grant, right?
The grant was
Initially, they give you the full.
Yeah,
and then
initially
the
they give you so
following
they
year.
can start off, and then they hope you will develop partnerships. Last year, we spent about, $8,725 in the event, which for the number of people and what we did there, it was a really, really good
It
deal.
was amazing.
It was a beautiful, beautiful sight. And so we are actually having, the music is going to be brought in, but they're gonna bring in those, what do you call those robots?
Oh, yes.
They're bringing those in.
Yeah.
And then we're having, we're having some individuals who are going to be princesses, the Disney princesses that are gonna come in for
Mhm.
those kids that want to, take pictures and stuff. So I think it'll be an amazing event. So if you miss it, with or without the blue shirt, sir, you need to be there.
Okay, we'll be there.
Oh, and if you have empty wine bottles, okay, I will collect them because we need them for the centerpieces. We are asking to have about 37 centerpieces. Each centerpiece takes 3 bottles.
Then let's get to it.
No, I'm not promoting drinking, I'm gonna
After the Super Bowl, right?
But I was told I need to donate 10, no?
I did approach several bars. I approached Tortoria Mia, Ushushi Madre, and several other places, and Danny's. And so, as many as I could. I didn't want to go to the bars in the middle of the night, so I went during the day.
Johnny
Why
Carino.
don't you go to Olive Garden?
Yes.
You need to focus on those restaurants that promote wine. You're going to
I
all the
want the
beer
big bottles,
joints.
the small bottles. Because what we're gonna do is take the tables off, decorate the thing, and then put lights inside of it.
Okay, because they have the little ones too, like big little.
And that'll make a difference. We just want them to be centerpieces so they look and shine.
And the little lights are expensive.
Yes, I know, and the line got paid for.
They're still up to very fortune.
They're gonna be solar, no, they could.
You never know.
Okay. And just to
Ms.
keep-
Rincon mentioned the youth committee. You want to give them the details of when the event is?
Sure. So, part of my role here in the health department, as you know, I venture out to special projects every so often, or very often. We've been recently collaborating with Workforce, and of course through this committee as well. They are trying to develop a youth coalition group, which we had kind of like a pilot group for health issues here at the health department, but they want to broaden the scope of this coalition or this group with youth, and they've identified the name as the Adolescent Collaborative Team. So we are doing a recruitment event.
I like that.
Yes, so we encourage youth or our community to act, Laredo Act. So we do have an event coming up here at the Health Department next Saturday. It will be from 12 to 4. We are also looking at organizations that want to participate with a booth and provide information to the youth. We are hoping to have a reach of 200 to 400 students ages 16 to 24. And then encourage them to participate. There is an application process for youth that's interested in being part of that team. So we're also working with the school districts and other groups to try to recruit a diverse group. We want those that are, the high achievers and want to be actively involved, but also those that might need a little additional guidance to resources like health or workforce, civil engagement. We have a lot of different organizations participating in the planning of these events, so we're very excited. So next Saturday from 12 to 4 here at the Health Department. If you're interested in participating with a booth, there is a form to fill out, so we can count on you guys. We will have a motivational speaker come in from
He's out of Dallas.
Dallas.
His name is Luis Salazar.
He's very good.
Okay. So we're excited for that as well. And then we'll present, it's going to be an interactive event. We're looking to also have a vision board for them to start getting that feedback. We want to move away from just telling the kids, this is what we need from you, or this is what we want from you. We want the activities that derive from that group to be things that they're passionate about and want to instill change in. That's my note.
Thank
Any
you so much.
questions on that? Or? Like I said, if you're interested in participating in a booth, I could email you the form. It's a PDF writable form. You're welcome to attend, spread the word. I can send you the flyer as well if you know of youth that will be interested in attending. Like I said, we're trying to make it very interactive, and refreshments will be served as well, compliments of Laredo Job Corps.
And you said ages 16?
To 24.
To 24. Right. We need the bottles.
Can you send us a copy of
Yeah, I'll send you a copy of the registration for the booth and the flyer of the event.
Yeah, send us the flyer.
About somebody available for.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, great. Yeah, let me know.
Okay, thank you.
What is X?
Adolescent Collaborative Team. I can't take ownership for that. That was somebody else's creativity.
That was actually Ms. Vanessa Ibarra. We had talked about several different names, but she came up with, because since we want them to be active, she came up with that. Vanessa Ibarra is from the Laredo Advocacy Center.
Which is a nice name.
Very good. Okay. We were having so much fun and we've come to the end. So, if there are no other further announcements, then may I have someone? Yes. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Yes, ma'am. Please, thank you. Do you have a second?
Yes, I guess.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.